So. Mm-mm-mm. Hey everybody, give me 1 second. Trying to get situated, of course, never fails that the stream winds up having something go on with it. So, give me 2 seconds here, guys. Oh, that's why it's doing that. Okay. Sweet. Right? Oh, that's why it's doing that. Hold on. Thank you guys for uh hosting Captain Canada and for the raid. Much appreciated.
To see you, sir.
And I apologize, guys. Of course, I already mentioned our guest, Donnie, that anything that will go wrong usually does go wrong right in the middle of me trying to stream. So today, obviously, would be no different. So, everybody, I want to welcome our guest, Donnie. He is with Hungry for Hope. Give me 1 second here, and I will tell you a little bit about our guest there. And then, yeah, we'll get this going tonight. Um, how's everybody in chat doing tonight? You guys doing all right? Oh my goodness. Hey, Captain Canada, thank you for joining us. It is much
Yes.
appreciated.
Definitely good to see you, Captain.
And yes, with the syrup, the Canadian syrup. There we
Yes,
go.
got to have our syrup shots. All right, meow.
All right. And Red, I am going to have you go ahead. Um, I know we've got just, a couple of basics here right now, but
Sure.
why don't you do kind of a recap from last week with our episode? It was our first episode co-hosting, actually.
Yeah, it was. Kind of a recap for those of you who are just tuning in for your first time. First and foremost, let me take a moment to thank you for jumping in. That's awesome. We'd love to have you here. It's really good to see you. For those of you that tuned in last week, thank you. We talked a little bit about mental health. Okay, so a lot. We were talking about statistics and things of that nature, and we did something called hashtag The More You Know. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as we know, mental health is a major issue within our society today, more especially now since the COVID and the COVID lockdowns and subsequent actions from there. So if I could do a shameless plug, uh,
Absolutely, go
if
for it.
you or anyone you know is struggling with any mental health crisis, please do not hesitate to dial 911 or your local emergency number. You can also text the word home, HOME, to 741-741. In the States, that's going to connect you with a crisis counselor. Okay. There is also here in the US, the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline that is available 24 hours a day in both English and Spanish. And that phone number is 1-800-273-8255. My friends, don't hesitate to reach out, okay? There's no shame in asking for help. In fact, I find it to be more courageous for someone to ask for help than it is for someone to bottle it in and deny that they need assistance. Take it from a 13-year veteran of the fire service. I know what it is to have to try to hold your stuff in, but believe me also when I say that it is much better when you reach out and talk to somebody.
Awesome. Thank you very much for that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like I said, guys, I am so sorry that, I'm kind of out of sorts tonight. Not that that should be any different than normal, right? Um, yeah, and anything that can go wrong usually does go wrong.
That's all
So
right.
there we all are. Okay. Sorry, guys, about that. All right. So now we can actually get started with coffee and a conversation.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody that is joining us. And thank you for the subs that I got. I recently made it affiliate, which I am super excited about. And thank you to everybody at the CRGC Discord. You guys are awesome. Oh, well, yes, Captain Canada. Where is the coffee? Here is the
Are,
coffee.
are you, I'm not drinking coffee right now, but if you're offering, dude, and gonna deliver, I mean, I'll private message you my address. I mean, come on, it
He'll
might be
deliver
cold
it
by the
right
time
from
you get here,
Canada.
but yeah, it's all right as long as it's strong, eh?
Exactly. So, yes, hey, he could bring us some Tim Hortons. They've got Tim Hortons up there.
Nice.
Um, all right. So, coffee and a conversation. What we typically do for this is we have different guests on the show and we talk about what inspires us. I actually came across Donnie. He has a podcast and a nonprofit called Hungry for Hope. And I'm going to let you tell him a little bit of his story, but I will give you just a little bit of a background on him if I can find it here because, we had all these and then it didn't. Okay. Um, a little over 5 years ago, Donnie Hart, a former collegiate football player and promising professional wrestler, found his once fairy tale life spiraling out of control following the sudden tragic death of his brother and eventually landed at rock bottom, laying in a jail cell in New Jersey facing life in prison after losing it all. At the same time, across the river in Philadelphia's notorious Kensington section, Tim cut. I don't know how to pronounce Tim's last name. Does everybody get this, Donnie?
Yeah, that's my co-host, Tim.
Yeah. Tim co-hosts with Donnie on his Hungry for Hope podcast. But with that said, everybody, this is Donnie Hart, and I will let you go ahead and introduce a little bit of yourself. That's kind of like the generalized overview as to what happened before your podcast. But
Hey, thank you for having me. Thank both of you in red. Thank you, guys.
absolutely,
Thanks for coming, man.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned me a little bit. I run Hungry for Hope. We're a nonprofit and we're a podcast. Hungry for Hope kind of was a vision that came in darker times. Like you read, I was a professional wrestler and living my dream, doing everything I ever wanted to do since I was 5. That's all. I can't sing. I can't dance. I'm not good at reading, writing, math. I could hit hard. I could wrestle. I was born
right.
for it. So I did that. Basically whatever dream it is, that was my dream. And I finally made it. Was getting pretty big time in it. And then my mental health, like you guys talk about a lot. My brother died. Tragically, it was a pretty big thing. Became a big media story, and at the time, I'm a big guy. I'm a pro wrestler. I'm 6'3", 300 pounds.
Right.
Slamming people for a living. The last person I thought, yeah, I'm a man. We grew up in this society where we're supposed to be strong and tough. So I tried to help everybody else, not knowing, the effect my mental health would have with a tragic death. He was the most important person in my life. So,
Wow.
within a year, I went from, I had a fiance, I was living great. It all left me because of my, I just had a breakdown.
Oh yeah.
Started doing drugs and everything you could think of. I didn't know who I was. I knew something was wrong, but I tried to get help. But like I said, being that man, I was scared. I used to sit out in parking lots and for appointments to go see like some doctors trying to get help,
Mm-hmm.
but I could never walk in that door. It probably would have saved me, but I would always pull away, and I'd go down deeper into that hole
Right.
until I finally, I was arrested and facing some pretty serious stuff. And just one day, I guess I was in court and just hearing where I was, I decided to fight back. And that's kind of where the whole vision of this started. I knew I wanted to, share my story once I was able to get out of jail. And
Right.
I started putting the pieces back, and it wasn't easy, man. This was like 5 years ago. And but every year got a little better. And then I was at a point probably like a year ago where I was doing great, but I felt like I was doing a disservice to other people who might go through the same thing. They might lose a brother, whatever it is, drugs,
Right.
any kind of victims, anything.
Hmm.
And I figured if I could share my story and it could help one person, I just felt this need to go back into the trenches.
Right.
Sometimes we leave a horrible situation and we never go back. We're homeless or something. We get out of there and we never go back. I felt it was my duty to go back and reach back down and help these people who used to be me, regardless of what brought them there. Victims, homeless, drugs, depression, mental health. Anybody who lost hope. That's what Hungry for Hope is, man.
That's awesome.
I know I needed it. So
Right.
that's basically where Hungry for Hope came from.
That
That's
is
awesome.
really
man.
awesome. Go ahead, Red. Sorry.
No, I was just clearing my throat. My apologies.
That's all good. Now, that like you said, that's one thing we talk about is like mental health, and we can go down so many different paths with that, and there's such a stigma about it that people don't realize that they're just normal people too. We all go through things. We all have issues. We all have problems. I know I talked with you the other night, Donnie, about, you you're very active in your community and as far as giving back to your community, and how a lot of times we have professionals that go into the community, but they keep that barrier there and they don't allow it, they don't get personal with everybody there. So it's encouraging to see people such as yourself that are willing to go out there, get involved, and treat other people like human beings, no matter where they're at in their walk in life. Um, and they can relate. You've been there, you've had hard times, and you've been able to bounce back. That's truly inspiring for me, at least. Like, you were low as could be, and yet you have learned how to, I'm sure, with the support of others, bring yourself back up from that and then give back on top of it. It's truly amazing.
Absolutely. It's never easy. My situation, because of my profession as a wrestler, you know how the media is, and they just, they ate it up. So not that would make it any easier, but like I'm going through the worst time in my life, and then it's on the front page of the papers, everybody, and like people kind of feed on that. I feel like a lot of people, they want to see you fail. And that just
Hmm.
that just messes it up. One thing, going through a horrible time, but when you're going through it on, the front page of the media, and it, it's a whole different kind of animal.
Right,
Absolutely.
exactly. Now, here's a quick question for you. In chat, please jump in anytime if you guys have any questions for Donnie or even myself and Red. But please feel free. This is a very interactive podcast and live stream. So please jump in anytime. Hey, non-serve, glad to see you here. Um, what helped bring you out of that? Like, there's always, we all hit that rock bottom at some point, and that's different for everybody. But what's more important, I think, is that not just when you hit the rock bottom, but how did you come out of being there at rock bottom?
I wish I could tell you I drank this potion and I could give it to anybody else who's at rock bottom, but unfortunately, I haven't found that potion. There isn't one thing. I can't give you like a how to get out of rock bottom, how to beat your demons. I'm
Right.
sure somebody wrote a book, but I'm sure it doesn't work. I'm sure it doesn't work, and I don't like to read anyway, so I never bought it. But
Exactly.
you know, it was just basically, you're sitting there, and a jail cell, maximum security. A few months ago, you're on TV, you're wrestling, you're doing these great things, and I just realized, I was at the end of the line, so I had to make a decision. It was just give up or fight back, and it sucked, but whatever brought me out of that, and once I got out of it, I was like, I got to make sure nobody else, I couldn't stop. I couldn't go back and change my past. I was going to accept it, do whatever happened. But I was like, maybe I can make sure somebody else isn't in the same situation. Because, I don't wish it upon anybody, my worst enemy, and
Exactly.
I'm competitive. I've been competitive my whole life. I played college football. I played some arena football, professional wrestling. And it became almost like a competition. Like people, in my head, people wanted to see me fail, but there's people who stood by me, and they were, I was like the underdog. So it became a competition of, succeed, make it out of here, prove to them you can do it. But whatever it takes. But it was slow. The more I started getting out of that rut, the more hungry I became.
Right.
And, some days you don't go too forward. It was all about not going backwards. It took years, man. And then, like I said, I just got to that point where I kind of felt like I got out of there, but I wasn't helping anybody. And that's when I just dove out into the community, helping people, and just using my story. Like I said, if there was a potion, I'd go give it to everybody in the world, but there isn't. It's just my story. I say, hey, look at me, man. If I can do it, a guy like me can do it. Why can't they?
Exactly.
Absolutely. You're not wrong. And to emphasize on what Donnie was talking about, guys, he's right. There is no magic wand. There is no magic potion, magic pill, magic bottle. None of that. I can't speak for you, Donnie. I know I can speak for myself. When I've been in that low in that pit, I had to truly want better. I had to want that change. And I think that for me personally is something that helps keep me motivated every day, is knowing that I don't want to go back to that shit ass dark place. I want that change. I want that something better for my life,
Absolutely.
Exactly. Exactly. Were you going to say something, Donna? Here, go ahead.
Yeah, somebody finds, you can find something to fight for. Like my situation, you can really say the thing that brought me down was the same thing that brought me up. My brother's death led to, my mental breakdown, but then thinking about his death and how he would want me to live was what brought me out of it too, almost, So it was bigger than me. I was doing it for him, and you just find something. That's who I found. I found my brother's memory was one of the things, because I didn't have too much hope left in myself, so I wasn't really worthy to fight for myself at the moment, unfortunately. But for him, I thought the world of him, so
Exactly.
I fought for him.
And that's what you got to do. You've got to be able to find, like you said, something to fight for, something to motivate you to keep it moving. I know, in my life, I've been through things, and, you pretty much said it. I mean, we all have a past. You can't run away from your past. You can try and run away from your past, but one way or another, it will always catch up with you. So why not use that to help other people? Why not use that? If nothing else, maybe people hearing your story and seeing the courage that you had to face your own demons will help them and keep them from going down that same path. Or it'll, something will resonate and they'll be like, you know what? That's a good idea. Maybe I should go and get help before it gets to that jail or death point. And it's very difficult. I know how you mentioned how, like, your brother's death led you down that, pathway of, having a breakdown. Losing somebody that's close to you is very difficult. Thankfully, I've never had to go through that. But me and my sister are very close, and I can't even imagine, if I lost her, what would happen. I can't even imagine it. Now, you mentioned, you do the Hungry for Hope podcast, And then you also just started up the Hungry for Hope nonprofit, correct?
Yes.
And now with the nonprofit, what is it that you guys, I mean, obviously we want to help everybody um, that we absolutely can, but what is it that you hope, you know, Hungry for Hope can do, at least initially starting out as you start growing?
We just became an official nonprofit. We've done some stuff not really affiliated with it. We're still working on, building up the nonprofit, but basically we're just there to give hope to the people who lost it, regardless. It can be domestic violence victims, it can be drug addicts, people coming out of prison. Uh, just so hey, we're there. And I mentioned to you, not to knock these professionals and these people who
Right.
went to college for all this stuff. There's a professional in every field. There's people who that they'll show up in their suits with their fancy books and they help people. Don't get me
Mm-hmm.
wrong there, but I feel like my whole point for Hungry for Hope is for people to see somebody real, somebody who's gone through it. We go out there and we're in Kensington, Philadelphia, on K&A, Kensington and Allegheny. It's probably the worst intersection, one of the worst intersections in America. It's people just living in boxes, gunshots, drugs. It's like being in a war, and
Yeah.
we go right there. There wasn't anywhere else I wanted to be. Besides, I was like, when we were thinking about, we wanted to go help people. I was like, well, where's the people that need help the most?
Mm.
They're like, you
Right.
can't go there though. You're gonna get shot. The drug dealers are there. They don't want to see people out there helping. I said,
Well,
fuck it, let's do it. But
there you go.
yeah, we want to go into the worst of the worst, the places where these people in suits and their fancy educations, they're not going.
Right.
And we're out there on Christmas. I brought a little girl and I just set it up on the side. You really got to picture Kensington. It's the worst. The open air drug market. The cops don't even like.
Right.
You get robbed or shot out there. It's not like I'm going to call the cops and they're going to come. They're not coming. In their mind, they're like, oh, white guy got shot there. He must have been buying drugs or something. And,
Exactly.
little they know, I'm out there with my little girl. We were hundreds of burgers and we didn't really know. I don't know much about nonprofit. So we started doing that just recently, and there we are, just hanging out with the people. We're not trying to give them any literature. We're not trying to tell them to find God or rehab. I would love to get these people off the street, but at the moment, I just figured it was Christmas, and they don't want to hear me preach. I'm just going to tell them who I am. They can tell by me. I'm like, hey, man, I've been here. I've been,
Right.
I might not been on that corner, but I've been in my own hell. I've been on my own K&A,
Absolutely.
I know what it feels like. And these people might be addicted or they might be homeless, but they're not dumb. And they can feel, they can look at somebody, they can tell they're real.
Exactly.
I'm out there on Christmas,
Yes.
Christmas hugging people, and we brought truckloads of clothes and that I feel like just the conversation with them. At first, people are skeptical. They always think there's an angle. I'm sure they've come across other people who said they're going to help them, but there's some
Right.
kind of angle. I don't want there to be new angle with Hungry for Hope. I just want to, whatever we can do, we'll find better ways. But I just want to go out there and connect, man. I feel like that connection's more than anything. Even when I donate, when I do anything, I like to be there in the trenches. I like to be with the people.
Absolutely.
The best thing we can give people is ourselves.
You are 100% correct there, Donnie, and that's something that I've learned personally. There's outreach that I've done way before I met the folks here at Underground Media and became involved with Beyond Barriers. I became an advocate for firefighters' mental health. Spent 13 years as a volunteer firefighter, and PTSD in first responders is very rampant. And of course, you know how it is for men. Don't talk about your feelings. Don't do this. Gotta be tough. Well, screw that noise, man. It's I encourage anybody to reach out for help. But you hit the nail right on the head, I think, when you said that there's all these so-called experts in their nice suits and their nice fancy degrees and their fancy little office. But unless you've lived it, sorry, you just know what you know out of a damn book.
That is true. That is true. And people tend to be more willing to talk to you. I know somebody the other day, like, I've got piercings, Red's got piercings, and piercings can kind of be like a piercings and tattoos kind of taboo because, they're not professional. And I told somebody the other day, I said, somebody might be more willing to talk to, say, Red because he's got the piercings, because he looks a little bit rough around the edges. People might be willing to talk to you, Donnie, because you got the tattoos and, if they're not scared away because, you're a big dude, if that doesn't scare them away, then, but,
Yeah.
it's really, it's good. Because I think growing up a lot of times we're like, you have to be prim and proper and you have to, fit inside these boxes. And I mean, you're living proof. In order to give somebody hope, you don't have to live inside a box. You just have to be real and you have to care.
Yes.
That's the
Yeah,
biggest thing.
absolutely. And Red brought up a great point. That's awesome what you do with the firefighters and stuff, man.
Thanks.
That's awesome work. But you said it kind of touched on what I touched on. You know, even that being a firefighter, you're the local hero. You guys are
Right.
saving people. And like you said, you're not supposed to talk about your feelings, and that's what it is, man. We see that so much, even with big tough guys. When I was wrestling, like I said, I was a big dude. You ask anybody in town, they would have told you I was the toughest, meanest guy you ever met. That was bullshit. I wasn't tough, man. Inside I was dying, and but I was trapped in this thing. Like I can't talk about it.
Right.
So now they hear people like me and you going out to them, not people in suits, people who look like they don't, they
Right.
can't relate to that. And you say, hey, man, it's okay. Give me a fucking hug. Let's go. Let's do this
Yeah,
together.
fuck yeah, dude.
Exactly.
I give fucking hugs. I give hugs to people on the street. I don't know, man. Call it weird, call it whatever. But, and I'm not talking about, I'm talking about people, wearing bags as shirts and stuff.
That's right.
And, it's probably not the best thing to do during a pandemic, but, fuck it, I can't resist, man.
Right.
You get these homeless guys going through it. You just give them hey, give me a hug, man. We're gonna do this. It lets them know
right.
the world hasn't forgot them.
That's right.
I thought I was forgotten for a while. You're sitting there isolated, away from everybody, and you're just like, who cares if this is the end? Because I'm forgotten anyway. But just letting these people know, hey, I didn't forget you, my man. Let's do this.
That's right.
And that's huge. That's huge. Because like you said, a lot of times we can get, in our own ruts, going through our things in our lives. And, just somebody saying hi, or just the fact that they noticed us or noticed that person will give them hope. Will give them, be like, oh, maybe the world hasn't forgotten about me. And it's huge. It's really huge. I know I will talk to just random people, go into the grocery store. I'm a very social person, which is hilarious because I have really bad social anxiety. But I will talk to random people. And my boyfriend's asked me before, he's like, why do you talk to random people? Like, why do you do that? And I'm like, because everybody is going through a battle in their life. You have no idea what just saying hi or complimenting, hey, I like your shirt, or, just talking to the person, just noticing them and giving them a compliment, making them smile, letting them know that they actually mean something to somebody, even a complete stranger, could save their life.
Absolutely.
And you don't know.
I agree 100%, man. Even I always felt that. Don't get me wrong. When I talk about these people in suits and stuff, and I found out through my show, a lot of people reached out to me when I started Hungry for Hope, and when I've shared my story, and I had other people share their stories. I always get these private messages. They're not open, just between me and other people. Now, I started realizing these people were hitting me up. They were, people in fancy positions, very powerful people with good jobs, and you would think they had the perfect life, but they would reach out to me and they said, I don't talk about this in public, but I went through my own whatever drug issue, whatever.
Yep.
And they tell me, and they're like, I'm not at the point where I'm ever going to talk about it yet, but your show kind of inspires me to one day be able to open up about it, and that's amazing too.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Were you going to say something, Red, or?
It's just in agreement with you there with the absolutely. However, if I may, real quick, ladies and gentlemen, earlier in the broadcast here, we brought up some outreach options. So,
Yep.
Captain, I did find a text number and a call number for those of us, for those of you watching in our neighbors to the north there in Canada. The Canada Suicide Prevention Line is available 24/7, 365 at 1-833-456-4566. You can also send a text uh, between the hours of 4 p.m. and midnight Eastern time to 45645. Those of us in the States, if you are feeling like you need to speak to somebody, uh, uh, don't hesitate to text home to 741-741 or 1-800-273-8255. If you are in a dire situation, do not hesitate to reach out to your local emergency personnel by dialing 911 or go to your nearest emergency room because there's a lot of doctors and nurses that are trained to deal specifically with mental health that are not there to judge you. They are there to help you, and they care, plain and simple.
Absolutely. Real quick, what was the text number again for the
The
US?
For the US, you text the word home, HOME, to 741-741. That's going to connect you to a crisis counselor. You know, guys, if you don't feel like going out in public during this pandemic, there's oh, good grief, I think it's called Safe Space or something like that, where you can text and speak with a counselor that way. um, I will do all of us a favor and do some research on that, so for our next broadcast I will have that
Absolutely.
information for everybody. But there is a lot of wonderful programs out there. So
Absolutely.
Donnie, tell me a little bit more about Hungry for Hope. How long have you guys been, uh, uh, I guess, active, for lack of better words?
We started the show like that first week in March of 2020. That's
Nice.
the first podcast. And you know, we had like 2 episodes every Wednesday at 7 p.m. We're on through Toxic Radio. They're a little broadcasting network near me outside of Philly. And
Awesome.
I didn't know what I was doing. I was a guest on a podcast before that. I didn't know what a podcast was, to be honest. I
Sure.
wasn't that tech savvy. I thought it was a product by iPhone or something, by Apple. I thought it was like something. I was like, oh, podcast. Where do I buy one of them at?
Right.
I didn't know. And,
Okay.
so they finally convinced me to do this show, and I honestly I wasn't sure if it was the right move. And after them first 2 episodes, we had some really cool guests. We had an outreach worker from Philly who she's out there in Kensington actually helping these people. And
Okay.
she's just a little tiny girl, and she's just out there. And we had her on the show. We had her show like how to help somebody. You see somebody going through a drug overdose, because you know you walk down these streets in Kensington every couple feet. Sometimes you see somebody that looks dead.
Sure.
When we're out there, I bring Narcan with me. You know, you see
Good.
people dying. So she taught us how to do that and all that. Then we had another guy, real cool story, but I really felt like, oh man, this is what I was missing in my life. I can use this as like a platform to share. And then what happens? Like the 3rd week of our show, the pandemic hit.
Okay.
And they shut the studio down, and you know, I was just finally I was like, oh man. And but we kept on rolling with the punches. We did some Zoom, we took some time off, but even the time off, we were still in the community doing anything we can do to help. But it's hard starting during the pandemic, but we kept on going, and I'm loving it.
Yeah, you guys have a lot of really good guests. If anybody's on Facebook, you can just look up Hungry, the number 4 Hope podcast. They have a Facebook, they have a Twitter. Definitely check it out. They have what is it? Because you're in Philly, so you got the Philly cheesesteak
Oh yeah,
thing
we do some
eating with
Philly.
Donnie.
Yeah, you know, you can only you can only do so much inspiration. So we kind of we
Right?
throw some laughter in there, and
There you go.
I love to freaking eat, man. We got the best food, a Philly cheesesteak, man. There's nothing, I could sit there and eat a cheesesteak and still give you some inspiration.
That's
Right?
right. That's right, man. Hey,
You
come
know,
on, man. Dude, you're talking to a fellow foodie. Bring it on, all right?
yeah, I love it, man. We do I do a dining with Donnie where I just go out and destroy food.
Attaboy.
And
Exactly.
yeah, Philly cheesesteaks, that's where it's at.
Hell yeah.
Speaking of food and Philly cheesesteak, if you like zucchini, if you do like zucchini steak boats, you could also do it with the Philly cheesesteak inside zucchini. Oh my
Nice.
goodness, it is so good. It's different, obviously. It's healthy.
That sounds
It doesn't-
fancy.
It does, but it's super easy. I am not the best cook. Well, I can cook okay. I just don't enjoy cooking. We'll put it that way. A lot. I was always a tomboy growing up. I, played sports, box, kickbox, all of that, and me being in a kitchen, it's just not me. So I
it's
find really creative, easy things to cook, and that one is super easy, and it's actually really good. So
I
just
love
throwing
to
that out
cook.
there.
I played sports myself, but I always love to cook. I love to eat. That's probably why I'm the round shape that I'm becoming now. Probably doesn't help that I'm eating all the wrong garbage, but hey, guess you can change that whenever you need to, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Food was one of the things that drove me to, I was like, I'll tell you, you can't eat a Philly cheesesteak if you're locked up or you're in rehab or
Right.
wherever you're homeless. I was like,
Right.
man, if I get my life together, I can eat cheesesteaks whenever I want. Let's
Damn
eat
right.
this.
Damn right.
I was like,
That
I'm gonna
is
get out of here.
awesome.
I'm gonna eat a cheesesteak.
Hell yeah.
Mr. Choke Artist was asking, what is a steak boat?
Oh, come
Real
on.
quick, a steak boat. Well, the zucchini steak boats. You can look it up online, but essentially, what you do is you take the zucchini, you take out all the seeds from it, so it kind of creates a little boat, and then you do your steak and peppers and cheese and pop it in the oven, and it's amazing.
That's right. That's right.
So,
Yeah.
in a nutshell, that's what a steak boat is.
Donnie, if I might ask, you said that you were involved in wrestling. Since your comeback, if you will, have you gotten back into wrestling, or I guess what do you do in your off time when you're not out on the streets with Hungry for Hope?
I run a concrete company out of Philly. It's awesome, man. I've been blessed with that. But yeah, that's one of the questions, when I first got everything together, like the last thing I'm thinking about is wrestling or
Sure.
going, like I thought of wrestling. I thought of that time where, I was on top of the world and I
Sure.
blew it. And that brought
Okay.
up bad memories. I wasn't,
Okay.
even though I was in that getting better, like people would bring it up and I would just brush it off because
Sure.
I really didn't want to go back to my past at first. When you get out of the trenches or whatever, what the last thing you're thinking is looking back or talking about it
Mhm.
until,
Right.
like I said recently, I realized I was doing people a disservice by not bringing it up. It's embarrassing.
Okay.
Your past, even bringing up.
Absolutely.
I was given this opportunity. I wasn't given. I busted my ass for it. I gave up everything, and I dedicated my life to this dream
Sure.
that people told me was a childish dream and to move on. And I proved them wrong at one point.
Absolutely. That's
And
awesome.
I gave up everything, and then I kind of blew it for whatever
Sure.
reason, a lot of tragedy, but some of my own, at the end of the day, I take full responsibility.
Sure.
So at first I wanted nothing to do with it, nothing.
Okay.
But now that I'm getting more in there, I've been back in the wrestling community. I've been around some shows, helping promoting stuff, and
Okay.
you might catch me on the sidelines one day, but who knows?
Sure. Sure.
I'm
That's
still
awesome.
young.
No, that's awesome,
Exactly.
man. It's not. Trying to figure out how to word this, man. I myself can relate to a certain extent. It is not easy to go back to certain things, more especially if there's bad shit attached to it. So I can completely relate. The concrete industry, man, I applaud you. I dipped my hands in that once or twice over the years, and boy, I tell you what, you definitely tear yourself up doing that kind of work, man. But it's definitely something you don't forget how to do. That's for damn sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a little different than wearing tights and body slamming people in a ring, but
right.
You got to do what you got to do, man.
Absolutely, man.
That's
There's
exactly it.
I hear a lot of people be like, well, I can't go, I don't want to go work that because of this, or I don't want to do this kind of job because of that. And it's like, why not? You're putting food on your table, right? You're able to provide at least the basic necessities for yourself, right? So you know, sometimes you do what you got to do.
That's all you can do, really.
Absolutely.
Right.
What is that doing?
Yep.
Sorry. See, we talk about, producing things and everything like that. Like, for anybody out there that produces their own podcast, does their own live stream and stuff and all of that, like, I give massive props because I used to be the behind the scenes and I just did all of the techie stuff and all of that. But trying to do all that and do a show at the same time, that can be very interesting sometimes. But it's fun. I'm not gonna lie. It's fun.
It's all worth it, right?
And it really is. It really is. In the end, it's worth it. We have a good time. Life is short. You might as well enjoy it while you can and just roll with it.
Absolutely.
Just completely roll with it. Yeah, and it's funny, like you said, Donnie, it's like you're like somebody mentioned a podcast to you, you're like, "Oh, what's even a podcast? Like what do you even do with that?" Like, you know. And I actually just got started doing this just like kind of random, really. I'm a co-host for Beyond Barriers podcast and then started watching Twitch and I'm like, you know what? I can do this. And we need, yeah, I can do it. I don't know how I do it, but I do it. But we need the positivity in our life now. There's so much negativity going on. So to hear
Yes.
positive stories, to be able just to laugh and get away for an hour, or 2 hours out of the week to be able to just kind of chill and find inspirational stories, for me, it's worth it. I've always told people even if it's just one person that it positively affects, that's one life that can touch other lives.
Exactly.
That's what I think, at least. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Now, you're completely right. We are, we live in a world where they fill us with like how bad the world is and how horrible it is, and even my story, like when I got into wrestling, like I've always been a giving guy, man. Childhood wasn't easy, and I felt like me making a wrestling that was a big deal. I overcame a lot to get there, overcame a shit ton, and all I wanted to do during my wrestling was let's give back. I was going to schools of, in horrible neighborhoods, and I was helping. I was speaking to kids at schools. I was going to hospitals, Special Olympics. I just always not for any kind of attention or anything, but that was just where my heart was. And I not to brag, but I've done hundreds and hundreds of times I've done these great things.
Mm-hmm.
Then the one time where I did something bad, that was all. Nobody remembers all the great stuff. They don't want to talk about that. That's not news. Some people, they'd rather hear about how you did something wrong. And
right.
Doing a podcast, and we bring on guests with inspirational stories, and I've just realized how many people have crazy, great, inspiring stories, and that you don't hear that much about. You hear all these bad, horrible stories, but there's a lot of love. There's a lot of great stuff going on in this world. And, if I use my platform to share some of that, I'm happy with that.
Absolutely. Awesome. And I got to say, man, it's awesome. I had the opportunity today to go back and listen to some of your past podcasts, and man, it's awesome. The energy that flows with it is just, to me, it's intoxicating. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, it's amazing. I'm amazed by some of the stories I hear, and it's been awesome.
Hell yeah.
What
By
would
the
you
way,
say? Go ahead.
sorry, Keisha.
It's all good.
Donnie, I want to say thank you for allowing me to follow you on Facebook there. Um, I know I reached out to you recently and said thank you, but I wanted to take this moment to also thank you again for the opportunity to be able to follow you directly on Facebook individually, just kind of keep up and get to learn a lot more, not just about you, but about your organization. It's again, it's inspiring to me as someone who volunteers with Beyond Barriers and organizations that are out there helping people. It's phenomenal to me. It's we need more of that, and I think one of the biggest things we're missing in this world, with all the hatred and negativity that we're missing, is we're missing the love and the peace. We you can't fight hate with hate. Yeah, but nonetheless.
Hey,
Absolutely.
thank you. I appreciate you reaching out. It's an honor. Thank you.
And I was going to say something and I completely
Yeah.
forgot what I was going to say.
I think we are talking about my guests or episodes or
Oh
something.
yeah. I was going to ask you, what would you say? What is probably one of the I won't say craziest, but what is probably one of the most memorable guests maybe you've had on or whatever? Because there's many. I mean, you've had a lot of really good people on there. So just curious, for you,
It's funny.
what do you think?
I always go back and look at them, and we did a thing on like New Year's where we kind of gave our favorite episodes, and I was going through it. It's so hard to really come up with one. We had a guy, Tony Hoffman.
Nice.
I think Red might have saw the episode.
Yeah.
Tony Hoffman. He was a pro BMXer.
Yeah.
He was an Olympic coach, but it was a guy who he's a real talented biker, and he got in trouble. He went to jail. He got 4 years in jail, and when he got into jail, he just kind of like I was in a cell. He said enough was enough, and he had 4 years to do. He never was a pro BMXer, but he was really good growing up, and he said, I'm gonna get out of here, and I'm gonna go to the Olympics. He
Wow.
trained, and he was in this. He didn't let his, you're in jail, you're in this horrible, but he didn't let his conditions. He didn't be what he was. He even in jail, you might. He just saw the bigger picture. He knew eventually he was going to get out. So every day he trained like he was going to be an Olympian. He said it started with like making his bed, brushing his teeth. He brushed his teeth better than anybody. He made his bed better than anyone. He did these little things.
Yep.
And he was a cool story, man. He's a professional speaker. He travels all over. I didn't really have a good connection with him. I reached out to him and he said, yeah, I'm here to help. There's a guy who gets paid. He gets paid. He's a pro speaker. He goes all over. He has a nonprofit. He's pretty successful sharing his story. He was an Olympic coach. He's done a lot of great stuff since his time in jail. And, he said, whatever I can do, let's do it. He was awesome. Another awesome. I love Jeff on the show. Jeff's story was awesome. Jeff Scoop. I was a big fan of his story, to tell you the truth, man. I just felt it was real authentic. He didn't try to hide anything. Like I tell you my story, a lot of these people I'm bringing on, I tell them how thankful I am that they're coming on, because like I was just saying, it's not easy, like sharing your story. Like, yeah, it might sound good and it's such an inspiration, but when you're bringing up like that time in your life where you lost it all, like that worst time, it's embarrassing. Now you look back and you can appreciate overcoming it some, but it's not easy sometimes. These people, they're sharing these stories, or when I'm sharing my story, it brings you back to that time where you lost hope or where everything went wrong. And there are a lot of feelings to feel. And when when people are able to express them, I can't thank them enough, because I know personally from sharing my story, it's gotten easier over time, but it's not easy, man.
Yeah.
Nobody likes to. You think about all the wrongs and the people you hurt and the chances you blew and all that stuff. But I've used it as something to motivate me. I was even telling Jeff when we had the interview, I can't go back and just like I can't find a potion I've tried to go back and change my past. I don't know how to build a time machine. None of my friends know how. I'll keep on trying, but I don't know how to go back in time and
Right.
rewrite what I already did. If I could, I don't know if I would anymore because I'm so happy where I'm at. I can't go back and change it. I can't, if people still aren't happy with me just because of my past, that's on them. All I can do is write my future, not rewrite my past.
Exactly.
So, and I learned that from a lot of my guests, a lot of these people, sometimes you get caught up. The past is a heavy burden to carry, man. You keep on carrying that on you. Eventually, it's going to bring you back there. So I let it go. I don't forget it because, I use it as motivation, but I don't live in it anymore.
That's key, and you hit the nail on the head with that. It's like, and it does, and I know, like, not many people in here know my story. Some of them are getting to know it, but you know, with you and Red's talked about it, Jeff, other people that I know, it's like a lot of people don't realize that yes, it is inspiring for other people, but a lot of times you're having to relive those emotions and those situations and relive and remind yourself of the different people that got hurt and everything. But it's also so it takes a lot. So I thank you for, again, like you said, being willing to do that. But you're also, in doing that, you're facing your past, and you're showing people that, okay, you don't have to stay there. You don't stay there. You can go through, you can share it, but you're not stuck there. And that's huge. Absolutely huge.
Absolutely. Sorry,
Real
I don't
quick,
mean, I
you're
wasn't
good.
chuckling at you, Donnie. I was chuckling what I saw in chat here
Oh,
about
yes.
us cool guys being bald. Mr. Choke, I've been shaving my head for, oh shit, since the early 2000s ish, and I've tried to grow my hair back out, but it doesn't look good. I'm approaching 40 years old, and when I grow my hair out, it makes me look like I'm 60. So bald is beautiful, man. Just stick with it and keep shaving it, man.
That's
I
awesome.
had a mohawk when I wrestled. I had this
Nice.
this
See if
mohawk,
I can.
nothing too obnoxious, but that was just my thing, my image, and I had it for like 7 years maybe. And when I got out of, when I started building my life back, I had it for a little, and then I was like, all right, let's start a new chapter, and I just shaved off the mohawk. So that's how I got rid of
There
it.
you
It was
go.
kind of, I was reckless. Reckless was my name. I was like, I'm not going to be reckless. I'm not going to be reckless no more. So I took out the clippers, and I've kept it this way ever since.
So yeah, and I was just, it's funny that Mr. Chuck artist brought that up, because I was thinking that when I was getting ready for the live stream tonight, that I'm jealous. You guys have it easy. You don't have to worry about getting your hair done, getting your makeup done, getting any of that done. You guys are just like, oh nope, I'm good. Let's go. See, you guys don't realize how easy you really got it. Just saying.
Now
Just
hold on.
saying.
Now I used to have uh, hair down between my shoulder blades. So
Okay.
yeah,
Okay, you got it
Rock and
easy
roll,
now.
brother.
How's that?
that's right. That's right.
Captain Canada had a quick question for you, Donnie. If you were to wrestle professional WWE, who would you love to wrestle with?
All right, so as a child, the guy who I really got into wrestling as a kid, we watched wrestling on like Saturday morning, and back in, I think it was '95, the WWF came to Philly, and my dad took me to the vet, and I saw these guys. They were just like, wrestling. You're in a ring. The spotlight's on you. These are big guys. And growing up, my childhood wasn't easy. I had a speech impediment. I was in special classes for years, and I couldn't speak. I wasn't dumb. I couldn't speak, so people thought I was dumb because they couldn't understand what I was saying, and caused a lot of, we all have stuff we overcome, but that caused a lot, bullying and stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
that's not fun as a child, man. I go back and I try to help people with this now, but as a child, I was like, I saw these big mean wrestlers, Hulk Hogan, the Legion of Doom, Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah.
They're the biggest, baddest dudes, and they were just beating people up in the ring. And I said, I'm gonna be one of them guys. I'm gonna be Hulk Hogan, and nobody's ever gonna make fun of me. That was like, here I am at like 5 years old, 7 years old, whatever it was. I see Hulk Hogan, and he was always my dream. I was like, I'd love. He's old now, don't get me wrong, but Hulk Hogan would be great. But that was like one of the things. I saw these big guys, and Hulk Hogan was really the one who inspired me. He was like, he would say, eat your vitamins, say your prayers, and you can grow up to be like me. So I was like, fuck it, let's do it. Sign me up. And yeah, that's we're going through. That was kind of like the back of my head. I was like, I'm gonna be that, and everything's gonna be okay.
Right.
People are like, we all kind of need somebody to give us that hope.
Absolutely.
But now wrestling, a lot of the guys I wrestled with, it's a little sad at first. Hard to watch guys I train with. Like I said, I dedicated every minute of every day to this. I was, when I got into wrestling, I got into it for one reason, to be the best ever. I wasn't. I actually told my brother, who passed away, when I got into wrestling. I mentioned it. I didn't really want to tell anybody I was going to do it. You're like 20 something years old, and you got a regular job, and you tell somebody you're going to try to be a pro wrestler, they kind of laugh at you. So I was like, I'm just going to do it, and I'm not going to tell anybody. So I was training, kind of my body getting bigger, and I had the athletic background, and somebody had mentioned it to me that I should do this tryout. So it was in the back of my head, but I had mentioned it to my brother. He kind of looked at me like, what the hell are you thinking, man? Come on, this is all I want. Me and him used to wrestle in the living room, and growing up as a kid, and that's all we did, play with our wrestling figures. He's like, just promise me one thing: if you do it, you're gonna do it, not just to do it. You're gonna be the best ever did it. You're gonna give it all. You're not gonna do it half-assed. If not, I don't support you. So that was like my mindset going into it. I literally gave up everything, man. I was in that gym every freaking day. I was gym, the wrestling ring, tanning. I took this lifestyle, and within my first year, I was in a lot of magazines as this up and coming, the next big thing, because I gave so much of my life to this. So a lot of the guys I trained with, who, not to brag, who I was a lot, I was a bigger prospect, had a lot more going. And, over time I was at the top, then I started going, and now they're on TV, and I'm happy for them. I never, ever knock anybody, their success, but I see a lot of these guys on TV now, and, it brings up, like, man, that could be me. But, like I said, man, I'm so happy with my life today. I don't let it really get down to me, but for, sometimes when I turn on that TV on Monday night and I see a guy I used to train with, who, people looked at me as a little better than, I see them, on TV making big time money and doing my dream. It's hard sometimes, but I love, man. I love seeing people succeed regardless.
Absolutely.
We got a guy, Damian Priest. He's getting a lot of push on WWF now. He's like one of their big time up and coming guys. And he was the guy who used to help train me, and he was the guy who kind of gave up on his dream because he had some issues, and now he was able to bring his dream back and get signed. So I love watching Damian Priest. I would love to wrestle him if I ever wrestled again, but yeah, I still watched a little bit.
Yeah, Mr. Shark Artist was saying if he could wrestle, it would be The Undertaker or Stone Cold. And Captain Canada said The Rock would be up there too. So there you go.
Yeah, they're all great guys. I got to wrestle all the Rock's family. I never wrestled the Rock.
Really?
Yeah, you get into wrestling, there's like 100 like Samoans who are all like, they're like the baddest dudes too. Samoans, man, they're just bad dudes. They're good people, man, but you don't want to piss them off. They're all strong, they're all tough, they can all fight. They're probably the toughest people I ever met. There's like, The Rock has a whole family of them. They're all over. A lot of them are on TV. I probably wrestled like 3 of his family members.
That's awesome, man. I would have loved to not necessarily wrestle, but meet the Ultimate Warrior. Growing up, he was one of my favorites. Same with Undertaker. I mean, I don't know, maybe just because I'm a dark and twisted kind of guy, but I don't know. There's something always a very appealing in that respect. Um, but
See, I was
Undertaker. Go ahead.
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't want to. The Undertaker. What I told you guys when I saw wrestling live for the first time. I think it was
Yeah.
'95
nice.
at the Spectrum in Philly. It was King of the Ring.
Okay.
And I was a huge Undertaker fan. I remember. I think my dad let me bring a lighter because when the lights would go off and Undertaker would come out, you'd have a lighter.
Yep.
And you do. It's like the first time I ever. And that's when I really fell in love. But Undertaker lost to a guy called King Mabel. He didn't win. It was a tournament, and he lost to King Mabel. And I remember crying. I was upset. I was pissed off. So I met King Mabel during my time wrestling, and I remember.
Okay.
Oh, he's a huge dude too. He's probably like 6'7", 400 pounds. He passed away right after I met him, but I saw him and I was like, you made me cry when I was a kid. And I looked at him, and I, now we were kind of, we were in the same profession. I was doing pretty good at the time, but I got to meet him backstage, and I was just telling him the story, and he was cool, man. He was awesome. Sometimes you meet these guys who you used to watch on TV, and they're real jerk offs.
Yeah.
Just because they're famous or they're on TV doesn't make them a good person.
Yeah.
I met some good people too.
I had the privilege to meet, I believe it was Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig.
Oh man, I loved him.
Got to meet Mr. Flair as well in person. For whatever fucking reason, they came. Captain, please don't insult me like that, okay? No, all due respect to Triple H, man. But anyway, so I got to meet those two wrestlers, and why they came to my little podunk town is beyond me. But however, they were both very cordial individuals, very nice. You could obviously tell that they were kind of over it. They were bored with it. As far as constantly having to just meet people, shake hands, and smile and all that shit, I can't begin to fathom what that has to be like. I've experienced that with bands too, working as a stagehand and doing security for rock shows. You get these awesome musicians that are, oh, holy shit, you're trying not to fanboy out, because these are your favorite fucking bands. Mm-hmm. But you know what I mean?
That's how it was with me in wrestling, being in the locker room with these guys. I'm like,
oh shit, I believe it.
But you said the thing about I wasn't on. I met Ric Flair. I was never on Ric Flair's level. I
sure.
kind of hit that bottom before I got there. I was on my way for sure, but I had some success in
Hell yeah.
You say that they look like tired doing the shaking hands and signing autographs, and I can't completely relate because they did it on a much bigger level. But I remember when the first person asked me to sign autograph. I used to sign a lot of autographs after that, but that first person, I remember, I think my family was there. It was like a smaller show, but like, and then after that, more and more people, and I'm like, me? Oh, you want my autograph? I'm like looking behind me, thinking there's somebody else, and like I got a lot of pictures online of like people taking pictures of me signing for a kid, and like the look on their face was like they were just meeting this guy. So that was the main reason when I wrestled. When I saw that look, I was like, that's the greatest feeling in the world.
Absolutely.
Not everybody's in it for that. Some people are in it for money, for whatever, to build their egos, and that's always fun too. But
I
probably got caught up more in that later. But the true reason was just them looks, man. It gave you this like, I didn't feel worthy of the position, but I got it, so I ran with it.
Absolutely.
Being able to like my words people would listen to more than maybe somebody else, because they looked at me as this, just like I looked at Hulk Hogan. I looked at these; they were my heroes.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
That's a powerful thing. Even now, I still use my background with like younger people I'm trying to help. They might listen to me because
that's awesome.
They look, not that I'm anybody special, but if people are going to look at me like that and I can change their life by using my image and my old profession, then who am I not to do it, man?
But I tell you what, Donnie, don't sell yourself too short. And I don't know what kind of music you're into, but if you know who Mudvayne is, or Hell Yeah. So I got to meet Hell Yeah a number of years ago. And prior to the show, I had suffered a TIA, a trans ischemic attack or mini stroke. It affected my speech, so I couldn't talk very good, right? The doctor was even like, "Hey, don't go to the show. You need to rest." I'm like, "Fuck you! I'm going to the show. I got meet and greet passes. Fucker, are you crazy?" And so anyway, I got to meet the band and explain to them everything that was going on because I was stuttering like a son of a gun, and they were like, "Dude, what the hell, man? Are you good?" And I later read in one of his blogs on Instagram of how he was inspired by me, and I'm like, little old me from fucking nowhere, South Dakota, is inspiring Chad fucking Gray from Mudvayne, and hell yeah. It's like, what the fuck, man? So I'm telling you, man, if someone is still looking at you in that light, dude, and they're still inspired by you, man, that's awesome. That's huge. And so I would encourage you to not necessarily sell yourself short, man, because from what I can tell, you are making one hell of an impact, and I hope you are able to keep it going.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
You brought up a great thing there. How that's awesome story too. But how like the person who you looked at as a hero,
right,
was looking at you like a hero. I had that, man. I tell people that, when I was meeting, I met a lot of kids who just, kids are like it's the worst seeing a kid because they didn't ask for this. Like kids who have cancer, or kids are sick, or
right,
they're born into poverty or these horrible
that's
situations with bad parents. They're innocent.
That's
When
right.
somebody, a grown up does something, they're like, all right, they made some of their choices. But when a kid, they're the most innocent. So when I would see these kids, and it just wasn't fair. I came across one kid. I had a hard time turning anything down. People would hit me up and, hey, can you help this person? I would look into every case, but I would do whatever I can. So I met this kid. Somebody reached out to me. His name was Adam. He was like 7 years old. He was dying. He was terminally ill, and he was a wrestling fan. So I started going there, and he was getting worse. I saw him for probably like a little over a year, but I was going there every holiday. I'd bring gifts, and everything you could think of, and I was just watching. This kid was dying, man. Some days I'd have to go there, and he just wouldn't be up. He was on a lot of medicine.
Right.
He was just all over the place, but just watching him fight, man, he was fighting a fight he couldn't win. He was terminally ill. He wasn't going to win this fight. He knew it. But he kept on fighting. I ended up, I was at his funeral, and it sucked. But he was kind of one of the person, after he passed away, not long after when I hit my rock bottom, thinking of him. He was just a fan. I was supposed to be the one inspiring him, but a lot of the fans, I had a lot of fans like Down syndrome. I would look back at pictures of me with these people, and that was one of the things that inspired me. I was like, these people, they looked at me as like this hero. I'm kind of letting them down by giving up.
Absolutely.
And that was one of the things that inspired me to fight back. I didn't know what was going to happen. Awesome. When you're in the spot I was in, man, realistically, I didn't know what the future was going to hold. It didn't look good.
Right.
But I was like, I'm just going to do what I do. Whatever happens, I'm going to fight back, and I'm going to live the best I can. But
Absolutely.
Definitely your story made me think of that.
That's awesome.
Sometimes we don't know who we're inspiring, and we don't know. You never really know that. Like, I'm sure little Adam didn't know he was inspiring me. I call him Super Adam. I'm sure he had no idea, but sometimes we don't know. There's people watching. Just like I say, people hit me up on social media, and I had no. I'm like, oh, they're watching my show. Some like doctor in Pittsburgh or wherever it is. Oh, they're watching me. And they're
awesome.
like, they're like, I can relate. I'm like, you can relate. I was like, you were a professional wrestler, went to jail too. Like, what do you mean? Awesome. Like, what year of medical school was that? But you could all, somebody might be completely different than you, but people can relate, man. You never know who you're inspiring, so just know people are watching, and you could change somebody's life and not even know it. Just
Absolutely.
like you did with that.
Right.
It's really amazing because, yeah, like you said, we have no idea who's watching us. We think of it as we're watching others and people that are inspiring others, and all of that, and little do we realize, like, there are other people that are watching us, that are looking to us for the inspiration, that are looking to us to for that little bit of hope, that little bit of strength. I know as a parent, I have 3 boys, and um, let me tell you, kids pick up on everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything. Like, there have been times that I didn't even think the kids were listening. Oh, thank you, Shannon. One, appreciate the follow. But like, they pick up on everything. So people are always watching, no matter what. And you just got to keep that in mind, that you know your actions affect other people, just like their actions affect us. Maybe inadvertently, and maybe not directly, but we impact everybody that we come along with in life.
Uh, absolutely. Uh,
Mr. Choke Artist. Mr. Choke Artist goes,
yeah.
sometimes I feel like somebody's watching me. Yes.
Oh, that's a great song too.
That's awesome. Go ahead.
That's on what we were saying before somebody started watching me. you, you don't realize sometimes you almost where I was, where people are looking at me when I first started getting everything together. It was probably a little after I started, really people started seeing that like I was back, that I was putting my life back together. Things started getting good. I got a message from somebody who was a fan of mine when they were little. Now they were a little older. They had grown up a little, and they hit me up and they told me a story how they had my picture in their room, my autographed picture. They met me at a show, and they had my T-shirt, and then when I was arrested and I got out of wrestling, they took the picture down. They were embarrassed.
Mm,
They're embarrassed that their hero kind of let them down, and
right.
that was hard to take. And they said, but now seeing you able to come back and fight back, I put your picture back up, and something like that. I
Wow.
could change your life. Something just like that.
That that's pretty cool. Because like you
It
said,
is.
you kind of had your fall from grace, and then so they were, like you said, he took it down, he was embarrassed, but then he saw you pick yourself back up, and now it's like, you know what? Now I'm proud of that. And that's pretty cool. That is super
Absolutely, man.
cool.
That's the thing about America. We're the country of second chances, man.
That's right.
There's nothing better than seeing somebody get back up who's been knocked down, and dust theirself off and say, I'm going to go at this again. I surround myself with a lot of people who have overcome some amazing things, and it doesn't matter what it is. And we all fight in battles, uh, some big, some small,
Right.
but you're never out of this, man. And until you're in that ground, you're never, man. I've seen amazing things. I've seen losers become winners. I've seen nobodies become somebodies. I've seen the worst become the best.
Oh
I've
yeah.
seen it. I lived it. Uh, Even doing what I do now, you meet so many people who, they tell you more of their story. You're just like, you can't believe it. And
Absolutely.
you're never out of it. There's always a chance, man. And it might not be easy, uh, but it gets better. You know, when you get down this rock bottom, you're far way down. Think about it. You're in a hole, man. It takes a while to get to that rock bottom. You got to go through a lot of levels, man.
Exactly.
So you're not just going to be able to go from the bottom all the way. It's not going to be fun. It sounds good now talking about it, but you're faced with a lot of obstacles climbing out of that. And some people get knocked back down. They never make it out because they don't realize it's going to take a while.
Right.
But don't get discouraged, man. You're not going to get your life back overnight. Anybody going through anything, it just doesn't work that way. Like we said earlier, me and Red and you, there's not a magic potion. So unfortunately, it's a process. I can't guarantee. I can never guarantee anybody I talk to. I'm trying to get them to do better with their life or change. I can't guarantee them anything. I just guarantee them that they do it, man. That they're not going to regret it. Not a day goes by and I regret trying to fight back. That day I was sitting there in that jail cell and I decided, I was going to do something about this. I wasn't going to let life keep me down anymore. Not a
Right.
big guy that I regret it. So the greatest decision I ever made.
Absolutely.
So
And actually, if you guys go ahead and keep talking, give me like 2 seconds. I will be right back. Too much coffee.
right. Reds, how we doing? How we doing, Reds? You there? Just me? Anybody there?
All right, sorry about that. I
Oh,
in my infinite wisdom decided to click mute. No, I'm doing good, man.
oh yeah.
No, so I tell you what, I don't miss the snow. I was born and raised in the Midwest. I moved down to Florida here about a year ago, and man, I love it.
You like Florida? Yeah.
It's not bad. I mean, I think no matter where you go, it's going to have its good points and bad points. But overall, I've found so much more to do than I did back in South Dakota. You know,
Yeah, man. I was born and raised my whole life around Philadelphia, South Jersey, but
all right.
I got to travel a lot with wrestling, and I played college
Alright.
football in the Midwest, and
Okay.
What?
What position did you play?
defensive end.
Defensive tackle, man. I was 187 pounds, soaking wet, and I was still playing defensive tackle.
Yeah.
No wonder my knees are a mess now, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. I got a guest coming on my show tomorrow. He played he won the Super Bowl with the Baltimore Ravens, and then
Nice.
he was in the Super Bowl with Tom Brady. He's a great guy.
That's awesome.
But he has a real inspiring story. So I have him coming on my Hungry for Hope show tomorrow. Kind of interested. I just thought it was cool. Somebody who played with Tom Brady. Tom Brady's in the Super Bowl this week. I'd love to hear what he has to say.
Right. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't follow football near as much as I used to. I'm an old school Raiders fan. I'm talking Jeff Hostetler and fucking Bo Jackson and all them. So
Yeah. But I'm a Philadelphia Eagles guy.
Yeah, I believe it. I tell you what, man, it's the I don't know, sports are definitely a different breed than what they used to be, in fact, I think the whole world is definitely different than what it fucking used to be, man.
Absolutely.
So
it would same thing with pro wrestling, man. I was brought up real old school in pro wrestling. My trainer is Pretty Boy Larry Sharp. He trained
Sure.
King Kong Bundy used to help us. My trainer trained King Kong Bundy, Bam Bam Bigelow.
That's awesome.
The Big Show.
Wow.
My trainer was known as the best trainer for monsters. It was called the Monster Factor. He brought me up like real old school. Like,
sure,
you got to protect this business. He didn't let anybody. It was a process. They reached out to me for them to train me and everything.
Right.
It was real old school. And nowadays you just don't see that same thing. We'd protect the business. If there's somebody we didn't think should be in wrestling,
sure,
we made sure they weren't. We beat them up, and you kind of protect it. This thing you love that so many people put their lives on the line for. Now,
right.
Now, if you do that, if you beat somebody up and throw them out of a locker room, you're the bad guy.
Yeah.
But in reality, they're disrespecting something that people have gave their lives for.
Absolutely. I can't say we did exactly that in the fire service, but if there was someone that was proving to be a danger or someone that could be potentially a hazard on a fire scene, we made sure that they got out in a very timely fashion. Sometimes we asked them nicely, and sometimes, well, we may or may not have given them a choice. I can't confirm or deny. And if you keep asking questions, I want to know who the fuck you're working for. Who are you, huh? Forget about
it. It's awesome.
I've been watching too much of The Sopranos lately, man.
Oh man,
shameless plug, man.
Exactly.
I was I was down up in North Jersey not that long ago, and I go by the strip club. I wasn't going to the strip club. Probably wasn't open anyway. But anyway, what was it? It was the strip club they used on Sopranos. Right away, I realized it, and we turned around. And I went back. I forget the name. I think something Pony or something.
Yeah.
And they use it on the Sopranos. It's where it's like their strip club on the Sopranos, and it's a real place in North Jersey.
That's awesome.
And I hate North Jersey, but I was up there,
Yeah.
North Jersey and South Jersey. We're like two completely different. We're basically Philly. They're like New York.
Gotcha.
Yeah, two different places. Should be two different states, We're a lot different.
I know how that goes. All right. For any of you guys that are just now joining us for coffee and conversation, we got just a little bit more time tonight, and we're just chatting with Donnie here. He has Hungry for Hope podcast, and he also runs a nonprofit called Hungry for Hope, and just trying to go out there and give people hope, reach the ones that, are down and out, and let them know that they're not alone. Very active in the community, working on, just giving back, and just, giving back to the community, giving back to people, and letting them know that, they aren't forgotten. And that's huge in this world today. And touching a little bit on mental health also. I know on our hashtag The More You Know podcast, we go a lot more in depth with mental health issues and mental health awareness, because there is such a stigma about it nowadays. And there really shouldn't be. And so we're just chilling, having some conversation. Feel free in chat if you have any questions or whatever, just chime in. It's interactive. We like interacting with you guys. Ponzo, thank you for joining us tonight. Appreciate it. Appreciate the hype there. It's funny, you guys were talking about wrestling earlier. And, as a girl, I can say I've never really been into the whole WWE. However, I was very big into like actual boxing and MMA stuff.
Nice.
And some wrestling too. But because I used to box and kickbox, but a lot of people are like, well, one, as a girl, how in the world should you be able to get into that? Well, I grew up with two older brothers. That probably is a big part of it. And it's one of the only sports that you can beat the shit out of something, and it's okay.
Right.
So it's great. Rowdy Ronda, yes. Yes. Gotta love. She was good. She is good. But as far as like boxers or wrestlers, I would say Conor McGregor is probably my favorite. He's an asshole, but that's probably why he's my favorite.
He just lost me a couple dollars last week.
Oh no.
He lost last week. That hurt.
Did he? I was gonna watch that and I didn't get a chance to.
I tell you what, he was good in his time. And no offense to Mr. McGregor, because there's no way in hell I could beat him. He'd one hit from him and I'd be fucking done, huh? But he should have just stayed in retirement. Swallow your pride, man. It's okay.
Right?
Yeah.
That's exactly it. Like him in the Floyd Mayweather fight, honestly, I absolutely loved. But yeah, I give them credit because Mayweather is a boxer. He is a boxer. Right. That's what he is, and he's damn good at it. Pardon my language, but I liked it because had it been a wrestling match, Conor McGregor would have taken him. Had it been solely a boxing match and all of that, like, you got two people from different, rings coming into the same ring. It was a pretty good one. But anything between wrestling, boxing, any of those sports, I mean, I did not realize until I started boxing myself that it's not just a bunch of people getting in the ring, beating the crap out of each other. Like there is actual skill involved, much like with the wrestling. Like there is actual skill involved. Yeah. So
absolutely,
I give it to you.
I was involved, kind of doing the wrestling. I was involved. I trained with a lot of MMA and pro boxers and professional UFC fighters, and a lot of guys cross over. Like Ronda Rousey's at WWE now. A couple guys I trained with were former, champions in UFC and pro boxing. So I've come across a lot of them people. I had a guy on the show a couple weeks ago, on my show. His name was Ed Lattimore. He was a 13-1 heavyweight professional boxer, but
Oh, wow.
his story, his story. He's a motivational speaker now. He's a best-selling author. It's a guy who came from, he grew up the worst projects in Pittsburgh. A lot of violence and addiction problems he had growing up, and he saw a lot of shit, man. And then he was telling the story, and I just couldn't believe his story was a lot of these boxers. We've had a lot of pro boxers on this show, but he was signed by the rapper Jay-Z.
Oh, wow.
His company did a thing where they started signing a couple pro boxers, and I was like, hold up, you came from, he was telling us his background, how all the addiction and how he really grew up in a rough childhood. And I was like, and then you were signed by Jay-Z, and you got two best-selling books, and he was another story where I was just like, I read up on him, but talking to them in person,
absolutely,
conversation with somebody, you really realize his story was cool though. It just made me, you said boxing. Ed Lattimore was pretty cool, man. He writes a lot of self-help books now, and he was a pretty cool dude. My co-host Tim, he was a professional boxing play-by-play announcer. He was really big, and he had a show on Fox Sports where he did a boxing show. So we get a lot of that. I get to learn a lot more through him.
Hell yeah.
That's really cool. That is super, super cool. Real quick, we got about half hour left. If you want to stick around, you're more than welcome to stick around, Donnie. It's up to you. I know you only agreed to an hour tonight, but I appreciate you gracing us with more.
Thank you.
I know chat's enjoying it too, and whatnot. And like I said, anything that can go wrong usually goes wrong, and I totally forget what I'm gonna say.
Excuse me one moment, guys.
No, go ahead. You're good. For everybody in chat, Thursday we have hashtag the more you know. Which, like I was telling you, Donnie, we just started the podcast. It's about mental health awareness. Because that's something that's huge. So real quick, totally a random question. Hey, it's Sweets. Sorry, I get distracted by chat. Don't mind me. Hey, it's Sweets just joined us. She's another streamer. She's really cool. But what do you do for fun? Because it's a pandemic, and so there's not a whole lot we can do. But it is important, we're talking about, mental health and all that, self-care and finding stuff that we can do to just to relax or whatever. Like, yeah.
What do I do for fun? Though you said, what do I do? Yeah, it's a pain. I'm a kind of guy, like, especially, there's that time I talk about, I can't really emphasize how low and how bad things got for me. It was, not in a million years. I was kind of at that point where I just accepted this was, I wasn't ever coming out of this. And, you're at a point you're just accepted. This is my life. It's over. And now I'm out of it. So I'm so grateful. Every day I kind of just take a moment to sit down and look at the bigger picture.
Absolutely.
So since I've been doing this, I just love to be out doing something, man. I always got to be doing something. So the pandemic does hurt, but people always said it, like sometimes people, they can't keep up with my energy, because especially losing my brother, and then losing my freedom and everything. You realize how precious time's the most precious thing we have on this earth.
Absolutely.
Not money, not possessions. Time. I can't stress it enough. So I take full advantage, man. I try to go all over. I'm right outside of Atlantic City in the Jersey Shore. I go down there all the time. I'll go up to New York. I'd love to be doing something. It's a little harder with the pandemic. For a while, everything was shut down. My regular routine is I go to the gym every day. Our gyms were shut down. The gym is kind of, I've always been in the gym, but it's like keeps balance in my life. I just keep my body fit, keep my mind fit. Just little things, man. I like reading a lot. I like information, as much information I can get. That's how I come across a lot of my guests. I'm always reading the news. I read every newspaper online, everything you could think of. And and I come across these stories of, some amazing stories every once in a while. And then, I find a way to reach out to these people. But I like to do it. I'm a diehard Philadelphia sports fan.
Oh,
They
nice.
they break my
Nice.
heart a lot, but I'm a big meathead. I'm in the gym a lot.
Right.
It's my
Yeah,
thing.
you speak of sports and how you're disappointed a lot. Look at it this way. It's not Detroit Lions.
Yeah,
So
right. You
you're
guys
not
got to do.
disappointed that much.
Or the
Yeah.
Bears.
Right?
Or
The
the
Bear.
Minnesota Vikings, for that matter.
Well, yeah. But did you know this? Speaking of sports, totally random. Detroit Lions are the only, well, I think they're one of four sports teams that have never once made it to the Super Bowl. Not once in the history have they ever made it to the Super Bowl.
Wow. I don't think. No, I think the Vikings are. No,
They've made
the
it.
Vikings?
They've
Oh,
at
yeah,
least
they
made it to
have. They
playoffs.
have.
But yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Wow,
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, Detroit.
Like I said, don't give up hope, man. I've seen losers become winners.
Right.
I've seen crazier things.
Hey, Cobra
So-
Dad. Red Cobra Dad said, "Be careful what you say about the Vikings."
Yeah, I see that. Nice to see you, Cobra Dad. Thanks for popping in and saying hi.
That's awesome, and I appreciate you so much, Donnie, for joining us tonight.
Absolutely.
I really, really
Thank
do.
you. Thank you.
It means a lot.
I appreciate you guys having me.
Absolutely. Yeah, we anything that we can, do to help you out with the Hungry for Hope, whether it's, through here, Beyond Barriers, any of that, please, let us know.
Absolutely.
We would anything we can do to help promote and everything else. Like, we all need each other. That's what I tell everybody in my
Absolutely.
Discord is that, we're a community and we're all in this together. So why not help each other out and be there for one another? That's all you can do.
Exactly.
That's all you can do.
Donnie, I'll reach out to you via Facebook Messenger because it's not under red. But I'll reach out to you and I'll get some more information on your podcast and when it normally goes on. And with your permission, what I'd like to do is basically give you a good plug on one of our podcasts here with Lakeisha and I, and
Absolutely.
broadcast it out to our audience as well to kind of hopefully drive some more faces your way.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. And anything I can do to help, man, I'm here.
Awesome.
And we appreciate
I'm learning
that so much.
I'm learning as I go, like even talking to you guys about the nonprofit, man, even the podcast, I'm self-taught with everything.
Sure.
I had no idea. I just knew I had to do something. And I didn't know what. I knew my life when I got better, I was still missing something. I didn't know. I didn't know if it was a podcast. I don't think it was exactly that, but I just when I started doing that podcast, and that gave me another platform to reach out to people, and I'm kind of learning as I go. Even with this like nonprofit, like some of the stuff I've done while we're getting the nonprofit ready. I've been learning so much about it, but I feel like if I just have my heart in the right place, everything, I know I want to help people. I know I want to make sure anybody who feels how I felt back then, or help people not go through that, not just helping the people, who are in there, but right. Using my story to help people, maybe get that help I didn't help. I didn't get. We talk,
sure.
I don't want to completely, sound like I'm bashing people when I say the people in the suits and stuff. I've noticed people are more open to a guy like me with life experiences
right.
than somebody with a fancy degree. But there's some things where I'm not going to be able to help you. I'm not,
right.
I know what I can do and what I can't do. And
absolutely.
There's help. Like I said, I sat there, I had family. I knew something was wrong when I was in this mental breakdown. But I didn't know how to control it. I knew everybody knew. You could see the train, getting ready to crash, but I just didn't know how to stop it. I didn't recognize myself or anything, and there was times, people made doctor's appointments for me.
Right.
And but they can't drag me into that office and
That's right.
see therapists and professionals. And I spent many days, like I said, I drive to the parking lot, the appointment, 7:00. I get there like 6:30. I'd sit in the car, and 7:00 would come, and I'd sit in the car, and then 7:15, and I drive away. If I did take that step to get that professional help, because sometimes we need some kind of professional help.
Absolutely.
I got it after the fact, and
Sure.
it was amazing seeing, you kind of like, hey, because you mess up and you're like, it must be something, I'm a horrible person to do this, but you realize like, yeah, you might have messed up, but this is why. And hearing somebody who has them fancy degrees and suits actually tell you like, hey, no, like this happens.
Right.
This is why you had this tragedy, you had this stuff. And next thing you know, it's like, all right, and this is how we're going to fix it. And then you're like, all right, maybe I'm not, worthless. Maybe I'm not, something happened. Doesn't make you a bad person,
Absolutely.
But it definitely helps.
So speaking of reaching out for help, folks who are just tuning in or who have been listening all evening here, if you text the word home to 741-741, that will connect you with a crisis counselor here in the U.S. In the up north in Canada, if you text the number 45645, that is available 4 p.m. to midnight Eastern time, or you can call 1-833-456-4566 24/7 365 in Canada. In the U.S., the suicide prevention line is 1-800-273-8255, and that's available 24/7 365, also both in English and Spanish. Again, if you're feeling suicidal, reach out to your local emergency department or dial 911 if you or someone you know is in imminent danger of self-harm. There is no shame in reaching out.
Absolutely. Thank you for bringing that up again.
Yeah, thank you. You made it, even saying at the end that there's no shame in it. We brought it up so many times, but I think we can't emphasize it. That goes for not just being a man. It goes for anybody.
Absolutely.
Female, man. Sometimes it's looked as a weakness.
Yeah.
But just know it's not. Like that was the hardest thing with me. That's probably why I knew if I got out of that car, walked into that doctor's office, I was kind of admitting defeat. Like,
right.
And in my mind, like, I don't lose. I couldn't, I built this persona where, I was indestructible. I overcame all this stuff. I had so many victories in my life that got me where I was, and you just kind of the ego, whatever. We were just so set on, I don't have a weakness. Going into that door, people are gonna think I'm weak.
That's right.
And
but
you're not weak, man. That's strength.
Yes.
Takes a lot of strength to admit that, hey, what I'm doing for whatever reason, it's not working.
Absolutely.
It's like the strongest thing, the hardest thing you can do. I have so much respect for people who, are willing to admit. Like, so the worst thing you can do is just like not admit, not man up. My whole thing, I manned up. It was harder for a while, but
that's right.
I manned up, man. I fucked up. I can't go back and change that, man.
Right.
I could just, for people who might not let that go, I can just tell them, hey, man, yeah, that's my past, man.
Exactly.
This is what I'm doing now. So I never have to do that again.
Exactly.
Well, I'm glad you did, and I'm really glad that you are here and able to be with us tonight and to use your experience to reach out to other people who are struggling too, man. That's courage above and beyond what most would even consider doing. So my hat's off to you, bud. That is freaking amazing, and I can't wait to continue to see how Hungry for Hope grows and to see what kind of impact it can and very likely will be making.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I appreciate it, but yeah, it's even I've done a lot of great stuff in my life, and I've done a lot of bad stuff too. I've been,
Sure.
people around these like fancy, people who are real successful and fancy, but I always felt the most comfortable when I'm down there, like in the trenches with the people who are, a little rough. Even like I was living in an area, and I was in like pretty nice neighborhood, fancy coffee shops, fancy everything, real uppity people. And I just didn't feel, when I wanted to get something, go to the store, I'd walk like 3 blocks away to like the ghetto, gunshots.
Right.
And, people would say hi to me. I felt more comfortable. I'd be talking to the guy outside who changed, and I just felt more comfortable. Even though at that time in my life I was out of that, but it kind of reminded me too. It still reminds me of where I come from. Like when I go down to Kensington and Philly and help these people, I'm helping them, but they're helping me so much. Like Jeff talked about, or like Red's talked about, his story with the music and stuff, and they said that he was their hero. These people who are down and out and are still getting up and trying to fight back, they're heroes too.
Absolutely.
I get a lot of motivation when I'm out there. So anybody who's thinking about going and helping some people, realize you might not just be helping them, you might be helping yourself. It really brings us down to earth. Like I said, every day I kind of sit and think of the bigger picture, where I'm at, what I'm doing in life, and going down there and helping people who can't help you back. They don't have anything to offer you, but it could be life changing.
That's right.
Absolutely.
I brought a lot of people down there, and we're going down there. You got to realize, like, I can't stress how bad this area is. I had to tell some people, like, they wanted to come help, and they don't realize this area. They don't have a background, and they've never really been in bad situations. Thank God, they don't have no background in drugs or homelessness, and they just like, oh yeah, let me go hand out burgers with you. I'm like, I think it's best if you don't go. And I would bring these people. I felt like responsible. A lot of these guys, they just want to help, and they're really good people, but some of them, they've had other people in their life affected by homelessness or drugs or the prison system, but not themselves. So they have a reason they want to go there, but they haven't come through a background like mine, but they still want to help.
Right.
It's like going into a war zone with these people. You got to realize, you can't have your phone out. There's a drug set right there. They see you, they think you're filming, they think anything. You can't take pictures with these people. You can't do this.
Exactly.
And and there's a good chance something bad's gonna happen.
Right.
I realize they when we're there, I feel like when people know that we're helping and we're there on a good cause, they kind of protect us. We've had guys come up as like our little bodyguards or whatever.
Right.
They might say they have whatever on them. I don't know. I don't check them for weapons, but they say we're gonna make sure nobody bother you. Guys are good people. You guys are helping us.
Well,
and
I'm sure they get their fair share of the fake people, the fake helpers. And what I mean by that are the people who are posting all over social media of, oh, I'm helping nail a board to a window for hurricane prep. Oh, here's a picture of me giving $20 to someone who's homeless. Man, fuck that shit. If you're not going to get real about it and you're not going to actually help people, get your ass off the street and let the people who want to make a change in there so we can make a legitimate change and make an actual impact instead of your bullshit for likes and for whatever the fuck you're doing on social media. Because I'm sorry, you're a poser at that point.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, some people just take it too far, and not everybody has they're not doing everything for the right reason or the same reason.
Right.
And you see that, man. That's why I've talked to people. I really strive myself in the guests I get on my show. I really try to do my homework.
Absolutely.
On the guests, and I've come across people where I've read stories about them in papers or whatever, and it sounded good on paper. It sounded really good, but then when you look in, you talk to them, and red flags start going up, and you realize some people, they're not authentic.
Yeah.
All I know how to be is me. I'm not going to be in anybody else.
That's good though.
I'm fucking me. Like it, don't like it. whatever,
That's
man.
right.
Fight me
Absolutely.
over it. I don't care.
That's right. That's right. But it's a quality that has gotten lost in our world today, with with all the social media and with everything that's going on, and uh, a lot of people out there want to post this glamorous crap that they've got for their lives and everything else, but they a lot of them aren't even about it, and it's like, look, just be real. That why try to pretend to be something you're not?
Absolutely.
And I get it. I do. A lot of us just want to be accepted, but the if you cannot accept yourself, sure, there ain't nobody else going to accept you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Social media, man, with that, even sometimes I find my people like see me, I post before the pandemic, like I was saying, I just enjoy every moment. I'm always trying to do stuff, man. I'm always going out to nice restaurants, trying new stuff, going and exploring
Right.
wherever, down the beach. I'm always doing something. So I post these pictures of me and this big smile and
Hell yeah.
doing great things, and people, people are like, oh, life's so nice and for you, but I don't want them to forget what got me here.
Right.
Exactly.
Not everything's perfect.
Exactly.
It's not. So I don't like to confuse people sometimes with that. So I'll reach out to people and let them know, like, I don't have it easy or anything, man. This life was hard, and you can get to these smiles I got.
Exactly.
Anybody can.
That's
But
right.
yeah, the social media thing does mess people up sometimes. A lot of people
Yeah.
pretend to be stuff on there. I just try to spread nothing but hope on mine,
There you go.
positivity. You'll never see me on my social media, putting some like personal beef or talk bad or anything, man. I just feel like there's so much shit in the world, so much bad shit. Why do you want to hear me talk about how I hate the Eagles or hate my neighbor who whatever,
Right.
or how my life sucks, or
Right.
you can go listen to somebody else talk about that. I want to say, like, oh man, look at Donnie, he's smiling today. That's pretty cool. But then I also
Hell
want to
yeah.
know, hey, how I got to this smile. There was days where I lost that smile.
Right.
And I want to use my present and my past. If people can see how happy I am now, and then people can realize where I was, anything's possible. Who knows? I might go to the moon next. Anything's possible.
There you go. Hell
Right.
yeah.
There we go.
Going to space school.
Heck yeah. Let's go. I'm down with that.
I'm down.
I'm totally down with that.
Nice little vacation.
What was I gonna say?
I don't know.
I don't know either. God, my brain. I hate it when that happens. Happens to me quite often. If you guys haven't noticed already, and everybody in my chat knows, Captain Canada was saying that the real war zone is out there, and
Yes.
that is very, very true. Hi, Go Mental. He was asking who your barbers are.
Go Mental. I am my own barber. I have a couple different razors that I use that work really good. I have a Freedom Groomer. It's an electric razor that works very great. But then since I'm very peculiar and I like that super smooth feel, I'll take my razor from Dollar Shave Club and take it down straight to the skin. And hell, I might as well just give them some shameless plugs before they even offer to sponsor
There
us,
you
huh?
go.
Shit.
Sponsor
What
away.
about you? What about you, Donnie? What do you use to keep your head nice and shiny like that, man?
I just shave it, man. Nothing special. Just some clippers.
There you go.
Yeah.
Funny,
Not too fancy.
funny little tidbit. Huh, Captain Canada, hashtag save barber money. Yes. That is awesome. I would say funny little bit tidbit about, asking who the barber was is that I actually used to be a barber. So
Oh, nice.
I actually would have people come in and I have used the straight razor
Hell
to
yeah.
do the full head shave. I have not
That's
done
awesome.
it on myself, thankfully. When I was in cosmetology school, I did have 3/4 of my head shaved, but thankfully it's not that way anymore and it's gotten longer. But yeah. So funny little bit tidbit there for you guys in chat.
That's awesome.
And Captain Canada was saying also that, when we're done with this, we can come and have some Tim Hortons with him. See, Captain Canada, you just need to come down here to the U.S. and we'll all get
That's right.
together and just
That's right.
chill.
We'll all get together in sunny Florida here and just party on the beach or something, you know?
Yes. Sunny. Sunny, sunny. Let me see here, because our
Although it's
time's
pretty chilly
almost
this week.
up.
If I may, before we close, Donnie,
Yeah.
I do want to take another moment to say thank you so much for coming and joining us here in Coffee and Conversation, man. It's
Yes,
awesome that
thank
you
you.
stuck around this long with us, man. That's just it's fucking awesome, man. I can't wait to connect with you more outside of this and to just to hear more of your podcast and everything, man, and to watch this incredible journey that you're on, dude. I'm super excited to see it. I'm very pumped and very glad that you are here and doing what you do, man. Thank you so much for everything.
Hey, thank you, man. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. I appreciate it again. And just for our listening audience, viewing audience, Thursday night this week at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, we will be doing hashtag the more you know and covering mental health again. Thank you, Captain Canada. Thank you, everybody.
Guy again.
Yes.
Real quick before we close out, for those of us in the U.S., if you text home to 741-741, that will connect you with a crisis counselor any time of the day, or the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline here in the States, available 24/7, 365, available in English and Spanish. It is 1-800-273-8255. And for my Canadian friends, if you call 1-833 456-4566. That is available also 24/7, 365. Available 4 p.m. to midnight Eastern time. If you send a text to 45645, that will also connect you with a crisis counselor in Canada. Everybody that tuned in tonight, thank you so much. Much love and respect to all of you. Acacia, thank you for putting all this on. This has been phenomenal. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't very apprehensive at first, because I'd never done anything like this, but it's a lot of fun. And and Donnie, again, thank you. Canada, Captain Canada, rather, thank you for all the fun, and everyone else that has joined in tonight, both listening, viewing, and interacting in the chats. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Tell your friends, tell your loved ones, tell your kid brother, tell your kid's brother's puppy to join in Thursday at was it 8 p.m. Eastern time? Or
Thursday
7
will be
p.m.
7 p.m. Eastern, 6
Okay.
p.m. Central.
Absolutely.
So, all right, guys, I'm going to read you out to Ponzo Live. And I will see you guys on Thursday. Have a great night.
See you guys. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Did it go?
It looks like it did.
Yep. Hold on here.